You know, I've always been a firm believer that children should be protected by all means. Protected from the predators out there who, for some strange reason, gets an arousal for a child, has a sexual attraction for a child. We need to protect the kids from them. And one of the things that upsets me as well is the fact that in most cases, children not feel safe enough, not feel comfortable enough, not feel confident enough to know that they can go to, i.e. the parent or the adult, and say, you know, this is what is happening with me. And a lot of times, the child is in fear because they know some of the parents not gonna believe them. A lot of times, a child can't even go to the parent and talk about certain things without being met with aggression and a rough, harsh response. Now, the reason why I'm start out by saying that, you know, is because I want everybody listening right now to understand, especially the parents, to understand that if you have a child, you need to have that kind of relationship with your child where your child is comfortable enough to come and talk to you and say, Mommy or Daddy, this is what is happening with me. This is what happened. And that child won't have to be in fear of your reaction. That is what we need to start doing as parents these days. Because presently as we speak, there are a lot of kids out there going through sexual abuse, and it follows them throughout their entire lives. And that is what today's recap is all about. This young lady shared on Unstoppable Live that she was sexually molested and she was unable to tell anyone about it. Eventually, she mentioned it to a friend, and that friend told her grandmother. Her grandmother, in turn, asked the predator about it, and of course, him denied it, and that was the end of it. She didn't take the young lady to go get tested or checked out or anything like that. It just ended right there. Now, as an adult, this still affects her. Even her own family member them chastise her because of it. And guess what, people? Because they must say she is trying to embarrass the family. That right there is the problem. Let's take a listen to this one that was shared on Unstoppable Live.
My dad migrated to Canada when I was born. I went to live with my grandmother, and I was told that was what he wanted for me. And while I was in my grandmother's care, I went to live with my grandmother at around 1 year and something months. And while I was in my grandmother's care, I was molested at the age of 8 and 9, as to what I can remember. How that happened, I grew up in one of the West Parish in Jamaica, and a very rural district. So how it happened, I used to carry water from public pipe, river, spring. Most of the time, sometimes I go with my cousin, sometimes I go alone, especially to the spring and to the river, which require more safety. At the age of 8 and 9, before that, I'm going to the spring and the river by myself sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. I was molested by my cousin uncle when I would go to the spring. From my past a certain point when I'm going to the spring, no one can see me. There's a lot of trees around, so I'm not visible to the public. It's not an open space anymore. The person who molests me would usually get me when I'm over at the spring where I can't be seen. When I'm there, ready to catch the water, either I full my jug, there's the person. He would do whatever sexual favor he want to do with me, and I would go as if nothing happened, afraid to tell my grandmother, afraid to tell anyone because of how my environment felt. I didn't feel like I could speak to anyone about anything at all. Therefore, I hold it in. This happened on multiple times. It doesn't happen when I go to the public pipe because there's nowhere that that person could get me in whatever way that he wants because it's a more open space, public road and everything. I don't know why it never happened when I would go to the river, but only when I would go to the spring. I told my neighbor child, she was my friend, not a best friend because I did not have a best friend. And I told her as a secret because I was so afraid to tell my grandmother. A day before she migrate, her dad took her. I think she went to America. She came to the house and she told my grandmother. My grandmother, the guy was passing. I don't know if they sent for him, but when she told them, I just wanted to disappear. When he was passing, they asked him. He said it was a lie and nothing else was done. It was not shared with my mother, my father, or anybody outside other than who lived in the house at the time. This year, I lost a cousin, and I've been holding this in for many years, 20 something years to be exact. I would go to Jamaica and I would see the person, I would act like I don't even see them. This year, I lost a cousin. When she was sick, when she passed away, we heard that she was sick. I started crying, and that is when I told my mother of the molestation. Never told my mother, never told anyone. I told my mother not to say anything because I was still scared and afraid. I live in that fear, that anxiety, scared to say anything. Not even sure why I was so scared, but to me it was my biggest secret ever. Later on, I told my mom in April. That's the night my cousin passed, and I was crying, and I told her, and she started crying because she didn't know it happened. She never heard. Nobody told her anything, and she was shocked. She wanted to confront my grandmother right away. I told her don't. I was preparing myself to tell my dad. Few months later, my dad lost his wife. I told him when you come back, his wife was in Jamaica. I told him when you get back to Canada, I have something to tell him. Last week, Monday, it was a holiday in Canada, Thanksgiving. I called him and it just came out. And I told him why I didn't say anything. He was shocked. He had a lot of questions, and I was able to answer them because his approach has been a tough one. It would have never been easy for me to tell him prior. And I told him why. When I told him, he suggested that I speak with my grandmother and confront her. I told him no problem, I can do that. Because after sharing it with my mom, and I felt a sense of comfort that I now can share it. So my dad advised me to talk to my grandmother before. I told him before, if I talk to her, it has to be before he does. Because once he talked to her, I know it's going to be, I can't speak to her anymore. So it didn't go as planned. As soon as I got off the phone with him, I cried through the entire conversation. He went right ahead because he couldn't I guess he couldn't have hold it to wait for me to talk to her. And he called and asked her. She denied it. She denied ever knowing anything. As I told him, I didn't tell her. That friend told her before she left Jamaica.
Now,
She denied
let me ask you a
me
question.
down.
So, okay, your friend. So whenever you was going for water, it was always just you alone. No one would ever accompany you as a
In the
8-year-old
morning,
child.
there was 3 children in the house at the time. In the morning, it usually be 3 of us. But during the day, especially on weekend, Sunday, it would be just me during the day. So the person know exactly that's the routine. That during the day I will be going there constantly by myself.
So if you can remember, you was 8. If you can recall, or if you even know how much older than you was this person that you're referring to, if you know.
At the time, looking back at the time, he appeared to be someone in their 30s. I could be wrong. He could be a little older or a little bit younger, but I would estimate at someone in their 30s. So after I shared with my dad, he confronted his mother and she denied it. Then I reached out to the person that I told, my neighbor child, which was my friend. Not my best friend, but a friend. She said she don't remember. And I wanted her to remember so badly that other people were comforting me and saying, she don't have to remember the situation that happened in your life, but you will remember because of the trauma from it. And when I told my dad, he told me about one of this predator victim. Then I asked one of my cousins that was in the household at the time if she remember. She said no. She also told me about another one of this person, predator victim. I wasn't aware of all these people.
So you're saying that after you spoke out about it, you found out that he had other victims, other young children that he
Yes,
molested.
yes,
Now,
young and old.
all right. So we're gonna continue from there in a short while. But let me ask you this: you mentioned that you told your dad why you never told him. Why is the reason why you never told your dad?
My dad has a harsh approach to things. He tried to build a relationship with me when I came here to Canada, but it was never successful. I don't know if it's because of what I've been through. Some people would say I have a guard up because of what I've been through, but those situations scar you so much you don't even know that you operate the way that you do. Because to me, it's a different thing from what he thinks. He would think I don't want a relationship, but it's hard.
Mm. So when he reached out to your grandmother, which is his mother, right?
Yes.
She said what? It didn't happen. She don't know about it. What is it that she said to him?
She said the child, because at the time my friend would have been a child when she told her, did not say anything. She don't remember she saying anything.
But obviously you would never forget it because it happened to you.
Yes. Even when the friend denied, I'm thinking and I'm like, no, it happens. Not deny it, but when the friend said she didn't remember. Because sometimes I live my life trying to forget that part of my life. And by doing so, even when she said, not that she's saying it didn't happen, she didn't remember. I felt like I was at a place where I'm questioning myself. And I'm like, no, they knew about it. But the approach that I knew my grandmother would have denied it. Because the shame that it would have brought on her would not be something she would be able to take.
So when your
So
friend
that's why I
when
told my dad,
when
whenever he confront her, I will not call her back
when your
because
friend
I would.
told your grandmother, sorry to cut you, when your friend told your grandmother, because I just want to understand, right? When your
Yes,
friend told your grandmother and she confronted this man, and he denied it. She never brought you to the hospital. She never brought you to the police. She never did anything of that sort?
No, no. No hospital, no police, nothing. I'm not even the I'm not even sure if the neighbor down from them knew about it, because it was never a situation that was loud up. And then a few days after, my dad confronted her over the phone. One of her daughters started to text me and call me all sort of names. I even brought it to as far as Facebook to post her up because I was so upset. At this point, I did not know how to respond to the situation because I was so angry. I cried from Monday to Thursday of last week when I told my dad. Did not eat, did not shower, because it felt like it happened all over again. It feels like I was reliving the situation.
How did this affect you growing up, especially even in school? How did this affect you in your schooling, and even as an adult? How has it affected you?
A lot. Growing up, I was never a child that spoke up about much. I could not speak, so therefore I acted out. After I left my grandmother and was living with my mother, and I would go high school, I started high school, and I have an argument with other kids. Instead of arguing, it becomes into a fight. Because that is what happened. When a child cannot speak, they act out. I went into social work in an intent to heal myself. Before 8 and 9, I wanted to be a journalism. I wanted to be a teacher. I never wanted to be a social worker. But because I wanted, with the intent to heal myself, because I knew something was wrong. It's something I've been walking around with all these years. It feels like something is missing. And what I needed in the instant was a social worker. Therefore, I went to school and do all the work and everything just to see what I can apply in my life to make it better. Because I know I was going through something on a daily basis. Depression, anxiety, sleepless nights, the fear of ever telling anyone. I thought I was going to bring it to my grave. I never thought I would ever say anything. Just like many other victims will take theirs to their grave, because even after I spoke out, quite a few family members and friends are letting me know that they're a victim as well. I thought I was the only one. I've never heard anyone speak out about these things growing up. Therefore, that it even made me feel worse of a different from everybody else. Because I never heard anyone speak out about being a victim of rape, molestation, none of the above. So while I was going through it, I felt like I was the only one.
So this family member that you said is cursing at you, or saying you're lying or whatever. What is the reason why she is coming at you?
She wants to protect her mother, which is my grandmother. And the fact that she said she didn't know about it, her intent is just to protect against the family name.
But you're not blaming your grandmother for this either,
Why I say that, they are not the type to speak out about this thing, and they would have never spoke out at any point in time.
But in this whole thing, it's not like you're blaming your grandmother either. You're just telling your truth, right?
Exactly. And that is why when she started calling me all sort of name with the emotions of feeling like it happened again,
Mm-hmm.
all over again, I just acted out. I'm not a social media person, never been a person to bring any sort of situation on Facebook. I posted it and I even felt ashamed. Today I'm fine, tomorrow I'm not. And hearing about men, other victims of the same person, I don't wish death upon him, but they need to be stopped. And enough is not done to protect the children and to stop these predators. They know their victim. They know who will be their next victim. They live in the community. They walk and they observe. They hear family conversation. They hear who get blamed for little things. They know the child that don't even is not given much love, and they know exactly where and when to get their victim.
Do you know if
Because
anyone
he
has ever reported him?
after I speak out, I heard he's in and out of jail. So therefore there has been some kind of report for that to happen because I heard he's in and out for rape.
Now I know it's been years. It's been years. Did you ever think of actually being one of the persons to go and make a report about what he did to you?
I am not in Jamaica. When I told my mom, she called down there with the intent to do so. And based on what I know, because it's been so long, there is no evidence. But they never stop. They continue and continue and they never stop. Because hearing about other victims, how many other victims he has he has done this thing to, it's unbelievable.
Well, if this happened when you were 8, he should be pretty old now, correct?
Yes.
Because he said he was in his 30s or possibly older when that happened. Um, Now, since you spoke out, you just recently spoke out, and you said you found out about other victims. Any other victims that you found out, are they recent? I mean, did it happen to them recently, or they're speaking out about something that happened years ago as well?
To be honest, I don't know if they're recent. I don't know if they're speaking publicly like how I'm speaking to you. I don't know. I think because they reported it and that's how people became aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was told by my cousin about one that was during in the same age category as me at the time, maybe a little older. So I don't know if it happened when the child was in school or when they were an adult, but she would say the name and I know it brings back memory and I remember the person, but I don't remember him doing anything to her. So I don't know if it's after me or during that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So because of this, there's a rift between you and your family, or your father and your mother is actually in your corner giving you support?
My father and my mother is supporting me, and because they're aware of other victim and they know that this guy is busy looking for another victim. The minute, based on what I heard, it's not one person, it's not two persons. It's just my grandmother denying knowing about it and my aunt calling me all sort of names because I spoke up.
I still believe you should, when you get the opportunity to, I still believe you should try to go to Jamaica and at least make a report about it. I know it's been long, I know it's been years, but I still think you should go and write a report about it, so at least the police could have him on their radar, just in case it is something that he is still doing.
I can do that. In myself, what I knew I wanted to do when I get to a place that I am getting at right now, which is healing, is to confront him and ask him why. But what seems to be happening, it looks like he's not getting enough time behind bars. He's out, and there's another um situation where there's another rape victim. He goes back in. So I don't know. I don't know because I don't know the facts. I don't know if Jamaica, the country, the system is doing enough. If he's not getting enough time, because I hear that he's in and out. But it's still not. I'm not speaking from facts because I don't have the police report.
But see, the thing is, you going to, despite it being a long time ago, the thing is, you going and speaking up about what he did to you will actually help get him convicted. If he's in and out of jail because of this same situation, you could actually help whoever the person that reported him. You could actually help that person's case to actually get him convicted. Because if you and others come forward about what this man did to you, this could actually get him convicted. So that is why I'm trying to encourage you that you should, when you get a chance, go and make a report, because you know his name, right?
I do. I don't know his full name, but I know the name that he went by at the time when I was in Jamaica. I thought I was gonna go to my grave without saying anything, but holding it in is just killing me on the inside. The depression, they don't know when they do these things to kids, they kill them on the inside. So killing them physically, in my eyes, is no difference. If I knew that I was going to get to a place where I'm just tired of holding it in, I would have reported him in 2019 when I was there. And many victims don't even know, just like myself. There's a lot I still don't know. Because when my mom asked and when I shared with my dad, she was saying charges could still be pressed, and my dad was saying, no, there is no proof. And I was thinking the same thing.
No, I know you say this is affecting you even now as an adult. Have you sought out any kind of therapy?
Since I came out, I spoke to my dad about it. I do plan on going to my doctor to see a counselor, but because of how I've been feeling, it's a struggle for me even to go on the inside. The minute I go out, I want to come back in. I still feel afraid, ashamed, fearful, the guilt feeling. The only reason I can talk now, if I was speaking to you last week, I couldn't. Because it takes time all over again. It's like what I felt was normal was happening when I didn't share it with anyone.
Right.
That was what normal feels to me. But now that it's out in the public, it brings back that feeling of shame, guilt. You feel like it's your fault. Because a lot of people think you shouldn't have said anything. You should keep it in.
Well, speaking out is actually a part of your healing. So, right.
It's so harsh and it's so hard that they rather you not say anything. Because the community that my grandmother is from, I've never, the way they operate and how they are, I know a lot of people will think that not saying anything is better than saying something.
Alright, Unstoppable family, we have gotten to the end of that one right there. But if you want to continue listening, you can click the link in the description. It will take you on over to the live channel where you can continue watching the same exact video in its entirety. When you go over there, please consider hitting the subscribe button and turn on all notifications. So once we go live, you will be able to get notified and you will be able to participate in whatever topic we're having at the time. And call in, share your views, give your opinion. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, please consider hitting the follow button button over there, that would be appreciated. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button right here on the recap channel as well. Watch ya. Until the next Unstoppable recap, stay strong, stay motivated, but most of all, remain unstoppable.
Unstoppable.